coming at you from an undisclosed location, probably in the Western Hemisphere, depending on where you define West. If you define West as just to the east of here, from the Western Hemisphere. If you define the West as to the west of here, then from the Eastern Hemisphere. If you define hemisphere as some sort of fruit, then from neither of those things. This is Lesbian Talk, probably number 97, I think.
We're on the water side.
Yeah.
Of the foil.
This is the eastern side. This is Boilerman territory from Sunset Heights.
I got a taxi. I got a taxi from the city center.
Yes. And as you can
I
tell...
only had to pay $3.50 because I went to the taxi rank.
That's good.
I know, right?
And as you can tell from the lack of different mics between us, this is us, we're doing this to camera.
And the reason this is a week late was because we tried like 3 different times to do it over Skype.
Yeah.
And I thought it was your mic at first. It was like those rolling static that would sometimes get really loud. Yeah. That's exactly what it sounds like. It did. It sounded like the ocean. And so I made her change mics, and then I fiddled around with my settings.
And the same, when I didn't have a mic connected in, it was doing it.
Yeah. So we figured out it was in the Skype call. The static is coming from inside the Skype call. So this is late, and I'm sorry, and Mike Michaud will eat my eyes.
Just treat this as some sort of a reboot.
Yes.
Because, segue...
We're going to talk about reboots, because there's a shit ton of them right now, and some adaptations, because there's adaptations.
And remakes, or maybe even restarts of old franchises.
I'm going to do the thing that I always yell at you for on Skype calls.
Excellent!
Oh, no! I opened the soda and it went, on me. It's alright.
Is it?
Yes, just keep talking. I have a thing here.
Okay.
You keep talking. Distract the audience.
Noises! Things! I'm going to be really controversial and say that the only thing that that's very noisy. I don't know if they can hear me over that. Oh no,
a
wolf.
Keep talking.
There's a wolf.
It's a wolf. Alright, I got it.
I'm going to be really controversial and say the only issue I have with the Ghostbusters remake is that it's a remake. If it had been a sequel set in the same universe that featured old actors or had the door open for the old actors to reappear, I would be perfectly happy with it.
See, I thought when I heard about it, it's a female version of... I thought it was going to be like something like maybe on the West Coast and they opened a franchise.
Yeah.
I thought that'd be really awesome, but apparently that's not what's happening.
Yes, it's actually set in Boston.
Okay, Boston's alright too. Well, it didn't have to be the West Coast. I just thought, it's young and trendy. Let's try this again.
That's what so people complaining about Ghostbusters, it's like... Dan Aykroyd approves, apparently, and they're doing an animated new Ghostbusters based on the original one, apparently.
Oh,
they're also doing another an all-male live-action Ghostbusters. I think they're trying to do a Ghostbusters cinematic universe, which is... It's not as pointless as the Robin Hood cinematic universe, but, not as necessary as some.
Well, I mean... I know everyone's flipping the goddamn shit over the Ghostbusters. I'm not really care that much. I'm like,
I have no idea how funny any of these women are because I haven't seen any of the things that they're in.
Well, apparently Melissa McCarthy's really funny, but I've also heard that her whole entire shtick is, look, I'm fat.
Oh, dear.
So, I don't know, because I've never seen anything she's in. Guys, comment, and let us know if I'm wrong. I don't know if she's actually funny, in a stand-up comedian kind of way, or she's more a physical humor person, but apparently she's very funny.
Wow.
But I've heard, some feminists criticizing her because a lot of the parts that are written for her are kind of like, look, I'm fat. So I don't know.
Well, I'm hoping it'll be good. What other ones are you interested in? Reboots and remakes and whatnot?
Well, here's the thing. I'm cautiously optimistic about the X-Files reboot.
It's not a reboot.
Or the continuation.
Continuation, yeah.
Because, I love Gillian Anderson, and I love David Duchovny, and I gotta tell you guys, that was my Friday night in high school. I didn't really watch horror. I think if you count Gremlins, the first Gremlins... I knew you were gonna do that. I think if you count that as horror, that was really the only horror movie that I saw as a child. And the thing is that... this is such a tangent, but... I had a series of intracranial eye operations when I was a very young child. I had them.
They stuck your head where?
Inside the. They popped my eyeballs out.
It was so hot. I wish there was video of it. I would review that shit.
I was like a toddler. Actually,
I would review that shit.
I was between the ages of 2 and 4. I had a series of operations, and actually it was kind of scary because this was back in the very early 80s, and so. They didn't at Children's Hospital Philadelphia, which if you would like to donate money to any cause, Children's Hospital are great people. really just, they're great people, great organization. But so, back then, all of the waiting room for the OR was everybody. The wards weren't separated. So there was a girl in neurosurgery about my age, and my parents started getting, they were chatting, getting friendly with her parents. She died on the table.
Aww.
And they had to come out and tell these parents, and my parents were sitting there. And you can, above and beyond, these people that they just met, have they just found out they've lost their child, who's about my age, then of course, even though what I'm undergoing has risk, but it's not a risky procedure, that. But anyway, when I got out of the surgery, apparently my parents comforted them. They're psychologists, my parents are, so they would have.
It's either that or they would do sort of unethical experiments on them.
Would you stop that?
Oh no, sorry, American psychologists stopped doing that in the 70s.
They're clinical psychologists. Well, my mother's...
Wait, this was the 70s. Oh no!
No, it wasn't. It was the early 80s.
Okay, you're okay.
Well, my mom's master's is in school psychology. But anyway.
I know, I was just kidding.
The
I've watched a lot of Dark Matters, Twisted But True, and psychologists are always up to evil things in that.
Trust me, I'm taking psychology now in uni, and we're always talking about the evil things psychologists got up to.
Good.
But basically, this is why we have ethics now. But so, when one of the surgeries, I think it was the last one, I woke up in my parents' bed that I had been brought home because one of them I got really, they did something wrong with the anesthetic, and all the kids that went under that day got really sick and had to stay overnight. But I woke up and in my underwear and a wee t-shirt because I was like a toddler, and huge pirate patch over my head, and half my head was bandaged up to keep the patch on. And, I could barely see. My vision was, shifting too. It was really weird. But my mom handed me this, eraser set with the gremlins. But it was just Mogwai. And I had a little stuffed Mogwai because I'd never seen the movie. But I loved the little merchandise. And then I finally saw Gremlins when I was in elementary school at a slumber party. And when I was a kid, I could not fall asleep in other places. And so everybody was asleep at me. And I became convinced that I could hear something breathing and scrabbling around behind the entertainment system. And I convinced myself that it was a gremlin. And then at about 4 in the morning, you know how cats reach bug out time and they just bug out?
Yeah.
Well, apparently the family cat had been behind the entertainment system. And the family cat reached cat and bug out critical mass. Went, blah, and I nearly had a goddamn heart attack.
Did you ever see Gremlins 2?
I did see Gremlins 2, but I
awesome.
saw Gremlins 2 much later. But, so, okay, getting back to my original premise, I caught the TV teaser. And the first episode of X-Files that I saw was Squeeze. The first one with Eugene Victor Toombs. Oh, that poor actor, because he always ends up playing, evil wormy guys. He played an evil wormy guy in Green Mile.
He's quite good at that.
Oh, he's probably a really nice guy in real life.
Probably.
If you're the wormy guy, write the show.
The guy, John Pertwee said about Roger Delgado, who played the Master, said the only reason Roger Delgado was so good at playing villains was because he was so nice in real life.
Oh, that makes me feel happy. But yeah, so I saw the trailer for this, and I'm like, every 60 years someone's liver gets eaten. I'm intrigued, but I don't watch horror. I don't watch scary things. I hope it won't be too scary. And so we had a wee TV down the basement because whenever we got our cable set up, they were trying to, it was in the suburbs, they were trying to hype a package, so we had 3 cable hookups. One in my parents' room, one in the downstairs TV room, and one in the basement. And my mom had all her exercise, various little apparatuses that we got, from family members or at yard sales and the whatnot. So she would watch TV while she would work out. So I would go down the basement. And it was only a half-finished basement.
And if you just skipped forward hoping that the tangent had finished, we're still going!
No, it's just the coming up to X-Files. This is... Shut up. This is my lived experience. This is qualitative analysis right here. This is my lived experience. And so I would go down on that first Friday, I watched it, and I was fucking blown away by this. I'm like, this is sci-fi and scary and awesome, and I became a believer. And that was my Friday nights. I would watch, but that show Sightings was on Fox. I would watch Sightings. We always got pizza on a Friday night. I get my stromboli and my pizza. I go down the basement. I watch Sightings. I didn't watch Millennium. For some reason, I just wasn't as into Millennium.
Millennium was fucking awesome.
That's what Mina and her mom said. But
the X-Files is weird in that both of its spin-off shows were better than it.
Well, I never saw Lone Gunman.
Lone Gunman, fucking amazing.
Nice.
You know, lighter and nicer than X-Files, but brilliant. And at Millennium, the first 2 seasons are gold. The 3rd season, fucking ignore
Like,
it.
the first 3 seasons of X-Files are really good. After that, I started being more busy and catching up to it later. And then I did watch the last episode to see what happened. But, like, I mean, and then, like, all the credits would roll, and, like, next week, and then you'd hear the credits rolling, and then it would shrink to a picture-in-picture. And tonight on the 10 o'clock news, what do you think about things and stuff? Well, what you don't know could kill you. And that's when I would turn off the TV and come upstairs and be like, whoa, that was awesome. So, like, I know, and I'm not going to be one of those people on the internet. I know that whatever they do for X-Files will never match my nostalgic memory of it, because I'm not in my teens. It's not the 90s. And obviously all the actors are older. We have better CGI now, so all that kind of stuff, even the practical effects will be better. But the thing is that it will never be as good as it was, because there's no way it could be, because I'm not who I was then. And I'm willing to accept that, so I'm cautiously optimistic, but I'm really worried that people are going to nitpick every single little thing and be like, well...
Like I do with Doctor Who?
Yeah. But the thing is that, like, with Doctor Who, I think what you have to get into the mindset of is that the show changes. The show changes and adapts like the Doctor does.
Yeah, well, with Doctor Who, I'm of the opinion that Doctor Who, if it had continued on uninterrupted, it would have ended up in the form that it is right now. It's just it would have happened naturally.
Yeah.
With this one, it's like going from William Hartnell era straight to Sylvester McCoy, and it's jarring as fuck. And that's why it's like I sort of rail against the difference. But I would accept it more if it was unbroken, an unbroken evolution.
Fair enough.
But back to remakes and reboots and stuff. The granddaddy of a really, really, really fucking good continuations, you know, soft reboot continuation is obviously Fury Road.
Oh, it was really good, yeah. Although I had never seen the Mad Max movies before, so...
And I hope to show you them.
Yeah, we've...
Just for shits and giggles, I might show you them in reverse.
Witness me!
That does not be said in any of the previous ones.
I don't care. Witness me!
I am the humongous.
Don't take this the wrong way. You have never sounded more gay than you did just now.
Excellent.
Very gay.
But Thunderdome and Road Warrior, both, they do a bizarre bit of casting. In that Bruce Spence, who was a really fucking distinctive actor, who played the mouth of Sauron, and played like the train man in Matrix 3, and he was in like Star Wars Episode 3. He always comes in the 3rd film of a sci-fi franchise. I don't know why.
Maybe it's in his contract.
Maybe. But he appears in both Road Warrior and Thunderdome. And both times, he, with his distinctive-looking semi-Vincent Chevalier appearance, is playing an eccentric guy who's got a flying machine. And apparently they're not the same guy, so this is the only guy that they, you know, the only 2 guys...
Like that guy that you thought could only play vampires?
A bit like Keith Lee Cavill with vampires, but this guy is like, the only people in post-apocalyptic Australia who can fly machines are Bruce Spence. Even though these things are
They're all cloned from him.
Possibly. But reboots and stuff, continuing.
Well, you know, there was a lot of buzz, and the Mary Sue exposed the fact that it was just talk, really. That Lucy Lawless has said if someone would do it, she would be up for, you know, doing more Xena, if it was a reboot or if it was.
I think they're going for a hard reboot.
But the thing is, I was so happy because, and again, Zena Warrior Princess. It's that show that, like, I would watch it in syndication on the Friday night and then watch the new one on Saturday, and like I kind of almost didn't want to get caught watching it, and I didn't know why I felt guilty about watching it, because I didn't realize that I was gay then. But it was kind of like a thing of like, wow, Zena and Gabrielle are such really good friends. They really care about each other a lot. I wish I had a really good friend like that. Bubbles, like, in the shape of hearts coming out of my ear. And, like, the thing is, I do have 2 of the Zena Warrior Princess novels. I bought them at a yard sale.
If they do a hard reboot of Xena, of the Hercules and Xena-verse, here's my suggestion. Xena as Hera, trying to kill Hercules. Make her the villain. Because she was the villain in the first appearance.
Hercules involved, because then you have to get your man involved. And
No, Sorbo wouldn't have to. Theoretically, you could cast him as Zeus, and then you could have Lucy Lawless beating the shit out of him the whole film.
That'd be great. Like, if she did it, like, for real.
In her first appearance she played...
I know, she was evil.
No, she played someone before she played Xena.
Oh, I didn't
and she
know
was
that.
evil.
Who was she?
She was like one of the Amazons in like the first or second Kevin Sorbo Hercules. Then she
I'm
was
gonna have
cast as Xena in the TV series based on that, and Xena was evil. So it's got precedence of her being evil.
It's just like, I didn't know who I would want to be more, because I always did want to be like Xena. Like, I guess that's why I liked playing Hawk so much in Dragon Age 2. It's like, don't worry, I'm Xena and I'm strong and people respect me because look at my tits and I have this big, huge Celtic weapon that I can curl around and somehow not cut my own fingers off. But, like, and I loved it. I loved
Pretty
it.
sure Chakram's not actually Celtic.
I know. Well, it's like, I showed season 1 to a friend of mine who'd never seen it, and 2 episodes into it, she goes, ancient Greece is looking awfully Celtic. I was like, shh, just go with it. But, like, then, like, I loved how pretty much every 4th episode was some bad guy wanted to get Xena and thought, oh, it'll be a great idea to kidnap Gabrielle. That'll show her. That's never gone poorly. Then I was like, oh, if I wish if I got in trouble, some big strong woman would come rescue me. So I didn't really know how I wanted to be, but, like, in the intermediary, you know, like years and years ago, I had a thought on if you were doing a sequel to Xena, how you could do it and have it make sense.
Wasn't it like set in medieval times?
Yeah. So, like, the thing is that, like, we know that Xena was cremated because the last thing you see is Gabrielle going off to the east with her ashes. So, like, we know that, you know, like, magic and stuff like that.
And she got reincarnated several times.
Well, yeah, that all exists. So basically, I have this idea where you have an alchemist. And he's not a very good alchemist, but he's found the ashes, or found the essential salts or whatever of what he thinks he can reconstitute it. You know, he can add blood and magic and things and stuff, and he will have this great legendary warrior to serve him. He doesn't know who Xena is, he just heard that he has this urn. And so, it goes off without a hitch, but she's, you know, basically like Magic the Gathering, got summoning sickness, and like, kicks him in the johns and runs off, you know? So then you cut to this convent, right? And that's where Gabrielle has been reincarnated, and she's a sister.
A bitch slap.
Yeah, and I didn't even think of that because that hadn't happened yet. And she's a sister in this convent, and she's like, "Oh, my idyllic life, serving the Lord. I love being a nun. La la la. It's 13, you know, 20."
And Xena is Joan of Arc.
No, but like Xena like comes through like wrecking shit up, and like it would be then you like you pick up jocks or something, and everybody would be reincarnated except like obviously the Greek gods have, you know, fallen, and now they're all like
yeah, they're all dead except for Ares. Ares in the Xena canon, at this point he was trapped in like this tomb until like 1914 or something.
But the problem was
Kevin Smith is dead now.
You can't.
Kevin Smith was fucking awesome. He is irreplaceable. He would if he was still alive in a reboot, he should be Zeus.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He would be fucking. He
always has a really great sneer on his face. And the thing is that
I hate you, Hercules. Really.
I had a roommate who loved to send me like, you know, like mashups.
When I say Kevin Smith, I'm talking about the guy who played Ares, not the fat director from Joyzy.
But so she would be like, "Oh, look at this mashup I found to Evanescence," but like she really favored the Ares Xena pairing, and would send me like all these pop romantic songs with Ares and Xena, and I was like, "Oh dear heart, oh, you don't understand." Ares and Xena, I like to Ares' credit.
She was looking at the text. You were looking at the subtext.
Well, the thing is,
and by the end of the show, it was all subtext.
It was, but the thing is that like I remember like my early forays onto the internet. This is like our first. We had Prodigy for a while, and then we upgraded from Prodigy, I think, to something else.
Tell you what, when we're finished Lex Appeal, why don't we watch Xena?
Oh, that'd be great.
You know, every time
we might be horning in on Lupus territory because she does Xena sometimes.
Well, she's doing like, you know, full on, you know, like review type.
Yeah, she's doing movie night.
So we could do a vlog, I suppose, but otherwise just us two.
Yeah, okay. Ooh.
Because I have the complete run on DVD.
I know. But like so, what was that? What was I saying before that happened?
I forget.
Yeah, but she would send me. Oh yeah, but the first time I went on, we had like internet, and I didn't even know about search history. And the first search engine I used was Alta Vista. Because this is how long ago this was.
I remember InfoSeek.
I remember InfoSeek too. But I had this like secret thought, and I'm like, what if Xena and Gabrielle are gay? What if they're lesbians who love each other? And I put you know, some search terms in, and I found a site, and it was like a GeoCities or Angel Fire site, so I doubt it's still there. called Zena Warrior Lesbian, and it was devoted because the show was in its like second or third season then, so it was currently running, and it was devoted to all of the subtext. And I read it and I was like, "Ooh, I didn't even notice that." Oh, yeah.
Xena's a little bit ahead of its time in that it had to do subtext. If it was done now, it would be full on. I mean, like, the same guys went off and did Spartacus, Blood and Sand.
Yeah.
And Jesus Christ, they would be like, yeah, we're going to do an entire...
There really has been Lesbian Talk. We talked about Zena Warrior Princess finally.
But before we go into Doctor Who, there's a couple other things...
We have, like, another, 5 minutes, but...
I want to do... There was a couple of...
Yeah, so they have another 5 minutes where we do Doctor Who.
Okay, I'll cry.
So, say it.
Well, I wanted to mention that the rumor gods heavily infer that Marvel, as a result of having a deal with Fox, because Fox has announced that they're making 2 X-Men TV shows. One based on the Hellfire Club, the sort of the villainous team from the 60s, so it's going to be Mad Men with mutant villains.
Wah, wah, wah.
And the other one is Legion, which is based on, it's a series about Professor Xavier's son, who he's got dissociative personality disorder, but every single personality has a different power.
Of course.
He's like the most powerful mutant, but he can't, but it's all spread out. But it's been rumored that because of that, Fox made a deal, basically, Marvel owned the rights to the X-Men TV, live-action TV things. Fox previously there was a fight over a show called Mutant X because they tried to make this X-Men TV show. Marvel was like, no way, we own those, and there was a fight, and Marvel owned them. But now Fox are making these 2. So, the rumor is, in exchange for the X-Men TV rights, because X-Men's successful for Fox, Marvel gets Fantastic Four back.
Oh.
And there's 3 unannounced Marvel films. Like, they've announced they're doing them, but they haven't said what they are, in 2020. And rumor has it, 5 years is about enough time for the bad taste of Josh Trank's Fantastic Four to go away. And it's looking like, at the very least, I'd say, we are going to get Galactus and Silver Surfer and probably the entire Fantastic Four in there.
Okay, that'd be pretty cool.
And they announced that Hulk, looks like, is in Thor 3.
Yeah, because didn't Robert Downey Jr. said, I'm not doing it?
Oh, no, not Captain America, not Civil War.
Oh.
He's in Thor 3.
Yes.
So... And it's Ragnarok.
Hulk breaks the world.
Thor Ragnarok,
yeah.
The destruction of the Asgardian gods. So this is my prediction. At some point we're going to have Hulk dressed up in Asgardian armor with an Asgardian weapon fighting an army of things, possibly while intelligent because, it is because Hulk has multiple personalities as well. One of them is Banner's intelligence in a Hulk body.
Oh, that's
him
insane.
As a fucking Viking warrior.
Yes.
Kicking the shit out of fire demons, probably.
I need a cigarette now.
So you're going to see Thor 3. And directed by the guy from What We Do in the Shadows.
Guys, I know that we did a back secret thing about this when we talk about it. If you haven't gotten it, it's out on DVD in all the regions. Go see What We Did in the Shadows. You owe it to yourself. It's hilarious.
Yeah. And for much delayed continuations of shows. I have this theory that horror remakes are terrible. They generally are. If it's a new adaptation of an existing work like Frankenstein or something, it's hit or miss. But if you're taking a existing film project that has lots of sequels and then rebooting it, it's usually terrible. Halloween, Friday the 13th, they just are... Nightmare on Elm Street was okay until they... The Nightmare on Elm Street remake I was fine with whenever they were indicating that Freddy Krueger might have been innocent, which I thought was a really good idea. Then they fucked it up and they discontinued, and then it was shit. But there's one series... ones that do a long-awaited continuation, which is treated pretty much like a reboot, as in, new people get involved in this, but it's already established.
I think I know what you're going to say.
You do the same cast. A couple of film series did this. Yeah, soft reboot, not a hard reboot. And 3 of them. Evil Dead.
Oh yeah, I actually liked the Evil Dead movie.
And I cannot fucking wait for Ash vs. the Evil Dead. Sam Raimi mentioned what his ideas for Evil Dead 4 were, which never wasn't made. Which was because Evil Dead 3 has 2 different endings, one where Ash is in the present day, kicking ass, and one where he's in the future, blasted, destroyed future, and his idea for 4 originally was to do both, and sort of do a sliding doors type thing.
They're doing a new version of the TV show reboot?
Oh, good.
I loved that.
Rebooting reboot.
Oh no, it's hexadecimal!
No Tony J, though.
Yeah.
But Evil Dead worked well, so there's a much delayed continuation. Child's Play worked amazingly well, Curse of Chucky.
I've never seen any of the Child's Play movies.
Oh, you should. It's the most consistently good 80s horror franchise.
My buddy and me.
The other one...
all the Americans got that. They were in the 80s.
The other one was Hellraiser. Now,
Wherever
Hellraiser.
I go, he goes my buddy. Well, my buddy was for boys and Kid Sister was for girls.
Okay.
Because a lot of people said that Chucky was based off of My Buddy.
Oh yeah, it's the good guy doll.
Yeah. My buddy and me. Okay, go on.
But Hellraiser 9 was a decent Hellraiser film with the crappy, not proper
I've never seen
Pinhead.
any of them. A new Clive Barker book came out involving the Hellraiser
Where he
people.
killed Pinhead.
I didn't read it. I've never read any of his stuff.
But the Hellraiser series
I
is
saw
good.
Midnight Meat Train. It was alright.
It wasn't the best Ryuhei Kitamura film, but it was fine. But
I was drunk at the time.
the Hellraiser films are like 1 is good, 2 is good, 3 is 4 is terrible, 5 is good, 6 is bad, 7 is worse, 8 is even worse, 9 back to the level of 5.
Okay.
So it's like good work.
Oh, speaking of adaptations, I know the Shannara books are getting like a PG-13 Game of Thrones treatment. Is how
With
the
John
articles
Rhys Davies
describe
as a fucking elf. What the fuck? That looks terrible.
it. I've never read any of the Shannara books. I was going to as an adult, but then everyone's told me, oh, they're really awesome when you read them, like in middle school, right after you read Lord of the Rings. But then as an adult, you realize they're poorly written. But they sell really well, so I don't know what to tell anyone.
Another long-running horror franchise with a terrible remake? Leprechaun.
Was that the one that we saw?
Yes,
Oh, yeah,
that
it
was
was
officially a remake of the Warwick Davis one.
We didn't think that they were using Euro, so we actually had to pause it and see if the guy gave cash. It was Euro. Like, yeah, it was Euro. It's good.
It's like, oh, Optimus Prime, why are you being a villain? And another one which I haven't actually seen yet, I don't think it's out on DVD yet, but it looks certainly good, and that's the new Phantasm film. Which is...
I've never seen anything.
Phantasm is
You
the...
just need Robin the Minion back, or you need to do this with Count Dracula because I'm useless at horror.
I gotta show you these films. Phantasm is the trippiest mainstream 80s horror franchise in the fucking world.
Okay.
I mean, it's got a teen and his ponytailed sort of aging hippie friend battling an evil old tall man who is from another dimension, who is a bunch of evil dwarves from the other dimension. They steal the dead and they turn the dead bodies into dwarves to be his servants, and then they get people's blood and stuff by throwing these silver reflective balls around, which grab onto people's heads and drill into their skulls, which kill them so they've been turned into little dwarves.
That sounds like a very convoluted way to be scary.
It's fucking trippy. And it's awesome.
Oh, and in further adaptation news, I know that there's work being done on the HBO series adaptation of The Terror by Dan Simmons.
I want to see that because you love it.
Oh my god. If you haven't read The Terror by Dan Simmons, it's grand. I mean, I'm literally obsessed with the Franklin Expedition. Like, seriously, like, ever since I was a child, I learned, like, all these things about it. And when I heard about The Terror, I ran out and I purchased it in hardcover, and it's about 800 pages. I blew through it in a weekend. The Terror is the book I wanted to read so much, I thought I'd have to write it myself, and it ended exactly how I would have ended it. And I was like, oh! So if you haven't read The Terror by Dan Simmons, just go read it. I mean, do yourself a fucking favor. I mean, seriously.
I need a cigarette after that.
I did. I was like, oh, I needed to get a copy of it. Your dad would like it. I must get a copy for your dad. He likes historical.
He does, but he spends he has so many books to read. He's taken just listening to them in audio.
Oh, fair enough. There might be an audio version.
There might.
Yeah, but we're coming up to about that time. So, honey, what did we watch last week?
Yeah, it's been about 6 days, so we apologize. We did not have time to rewatch it just to refresh memory. So if we get a couple of details wrong, I apologize. So what did you think of Emperor Scorpulus of the Daleks?
It was Before the Flood.
Oh
The
yes.
name of the episode. I had to remember. I don't know how I'm going to be able to work that into the title of the episode, so I'm probably not going to. I liked it. I thought it was a really solid episode.
I didn't think it was as good as the previous one.
No, it wasn't as good as the one before, but it was good. Someone online, and I forget who, went off the hook about how it was ableist that when the deaf captain, she's being followed by the ghost who's dragging the metal axe. She puts her hands down and feels the vibration and kind of gets like a mental picture of the guy dragging the axe. And the person was like, oh, that's, of course, yeah, you can't have a disabled actress without them being a fucking superhero and gaining powers. And I was like, well, I guess. But then I was in class the other day in developmental psychology. We were talking about how people with physical disabilities, like who are blind, who are deaf, or something like a sense disability, when they, they did this thing with blind people is they conveyed impulses to the tongue to taste, and the sight part of the brain lit up. So people think that, if you are getting the sense another way, you're still creating a kind of neural imaging in your brain.
And even if that's not the case...
And also the fact that she saw that ghost have the axe before.
Yeah, even if that's not the case, television is a visual medium, and they were constructing basically the sensation of her hearing the vibrations.
I thought that was pretty cool, actually.
It's not how
it's not like she went all full Daredevil.
Yeah, it looked like the Daredevil from the film version, and that wasn't what they were going for. It's just unfortunate. I wouldn't have handled it that way directly, but I can understand why they did it. And she wasn't being a superhero; she was just feeling the vibrations of the thing.
Yeah.
It was scraping along metal behind her.
I think I saw it on Twitter. I saw it on some social media. If it was you, write the show. But I thought it was good. You called it, though.
I always call it.
You were like, oh, I bet the doctor's going to turn into a ghost on big things.
Well, that was the end of it. It was like, I said he would somehow be... No, I was right and wrong.
Because you said that everybody would live.
I said the doctor will die because, Moffat's all about that. And he will find a way to save himself and change history and therefore save everyone else. That obviously did not happen. However, the doctor... So I was right about other things. I can't remember exactly what I was right about.
I wanted the little Scottish girl who squeed about being in the TARDIS. I wanted her to live. I thought she'd make a good companion.
Yeah, she would have been fine.
But yeah, it was a satisfying resolution.
The fucking Fisher King looked so bad.
Yeah, he had like a vagina face. I mean, I ain't saying. I'm just saying.
It looked
you know
like.
What I'm saying?
It looked like a hybrid
If you've got a vagina face, write the show. Actually, don't write the show. Keep it to yourself.
Take a photo and send it to the show.
No.
It's like a cross between...
I'll get kicked off YouTube.
The Predator, the face of the Predator without the mask, attached to the body of the really stupidest looking Goombas from Super Mario Bros., the one with the really long neck.
Oh, yeah.
It was like those two put together.
Or the Ambassador Khan or whatever from Babylon 5. Not Khan, Ambassador...
Gosh,
that thing. I knew it was okay.
And the
Well, here's the thing. Like, it was like, hold on, Trump.
I am so powerful.
Yeah, like they always show like these. Like you're meant to believe that he is like the pinnacle of a warrior race, and he's the best warrior. But he has to like trump slowly across an abandoned village. You're like the prosthetics, dude. You
know who did the voice of the Fisher King?
No.
Well, there were two voices. There was the speaking voice was Peter Serafinowicz.
Oh, really?
Who's the creator and star and writer of Look Around You.
Look Around You.
The black-haired guy.
Look Around You.
He also
look that up on YouTube. It is fantastic.
He also did the voice of Darth Maul.
Yeah. I know Peter Serafinowicz.
And he was in Spaced and stuff and Shaun of the Dead. But in Shaun of the Dead, he was Sean and the fat guy's other roommate.
The posh, uppity roommate.
Yeah, who was angry and was in a towel and got turned into a zombie. But the other voice of it was Corey Taylor, the screaming voice. Corey Taylor, the vocalist from Slipknot.
Oh.
He apparently...
Oh, yeah, because Doctor Who, the official Twitter, has been tweeting pictures of him about the TARDIS. And...
Yeah, he went to visit, and they were like, do you want to do the voice of this thing screaming? Sure.
Oh, I'm in Slipknot, it's alright.
I'd heard rumours that Slipknot were fans of Doctor Who because one of their albums, I think it was like their second or third one, began with an orchestral instrumental part which sounded vaguely like the Doctor Who theme. And because of that, there was rumour back in 2005 that they would actually be doing the theme of the show.
That'd be pretty cool.
Which obviously didn't happen. But
I gotta confess, not the biggest Slipknot fan, but I did like Stone Sour. Didn't some of the guys go off to be in Stone Sour for a while?
Corey Taylor might have been in that as well.
Yeah, I like that one song, Through Glass. I think I still have it on my iPod.
But, so that's the 3,000 things about the Fisher King. A, he was shit. B, Slipknot. C, Sarah Finowitz. Okay, this was my plan for how to bring the Master back before, 2005. This was my idea. Back then, in the continuity of Doctor Who, the Master was stealing bodies. The last time you'd seen him was 1996. And he had possessed Eric Roberts and be sucked into the Eye of Harmony. So my idea was the Master got ejected from the Eye of Harmony somewhere into the past, and he possessed another human body. Somehow didn't manage to make this one sort of degenerate, within minutes and hours. Mm-hmm. So for 50 years, he's got this human body, and he runs a really, really worldwide secretive crime syndicate, brutally. And by the time the Doctor appears, it's like 50 years later.
Because he knows the Doctor will come back to Earth eventually.
Yeah.
He just has to wait.
He's arranging for when the Doctor reappears.
Oh.
And
so he'd be like, "Hello, Doctor, it was me. I was the Master the whole time."
And my casting for this aged Master, and this was my casting back then, and you can see when this guy died, so you can see how long ago I had this idea. Patrick McGowan.
Oh, from the thing, from The Prisoner.
The Prisoner and Braveheart.
Yeah.
Patrick McGoohan is one of those actors who he is really good at being frightening when he's acting angry. He is amazingly good at it. And I got the feeling in Braveheart and in Age, he had the air of a man who had lost the ability to break you in half, but not the will.
Mm.
So my idea was Patrick McGoohan as the aged master. You'd have him there for like a season, and then at the end of the season, after like his scheme's been defeated, and he's like dying or something, he then grabs and sort of takes over the body of his sort of bodyguard / number 2, Peter Serafinowicz. Because Peter Serafinowicz also is really good at being angry.
That's true.
And scary while he's being angry. He's a good mimic, and he's good at comedy as well.
Also a wee bit like Stephen Fry too.
Yeah, he's multiple talented, and
one of your talents is looking like Stephen Fry. Good job.
Yes, but he's also really good at being naturally, because anger in real life is often funny if it's not directed at you and the person is not above you in some way. With Serafinowicz, though, he can be frightening in anger, like McGoohan. So, and Serafinowicz is like 6'3", 6'4", usually at the time.
Master can be like, I'm telling you, Doctor, I'm just saying.
He was also very built, as
Yeah.
in muscular. So imagine a guy who's really good at being terrifying, who is 6'3" or 4", muscular, and it's the master, and he's this sort of malevolent master. First thing he does is kill the companion.
Oh, yeah.
None of this shitty, I've got zany schemes, I'm joking about how mad I am, fucking drums. No. Master's like, Doctor, you caused me a lot of trouble, I'm killing your best friend.
Ba-choom, there's the gun, it went off.
I'm not we were best friends back whenever I was Delgado, but I've had enough of that shit. I'm gonna break your fucking hands.
Well, see, here's the thing is, so you know how this episode, everyone's like, oh, Clara, you're heartless and you don't care. She's like, no, the doctor taught me how to be this way. Like, I read in Doctor Who magazine that, like, the doctor has started to notice that his exposure to him is changing Clara. His influence, is, like, making her reckless and stuff like that. So I hope it gets to a point where, like, she's so reckless, she makes a mistake and someone dies. And the doctor's like, you can't travel with me anymore. I will not be seeing you again. It's for your own good. Because then she'd be like, no, doctor. I'm like, well, you shouldn't have lied then, should you, girl who lied?
But it's nice.
Just
So it was
saying.
nice to see Serafinowicz in Doctor Who finally, but I wanted him to have a more meaty part, possibly as the Master.
So
This episode, the first one felt very classic Who.
yeah,
Very,
Base
very classic
Under
Who.
Siege by monsters.
By ghosts.
Okay.
This one also felt classic Who-ish, but the only episode of classic Who it felt like was Curse of Fenric.
I liked it, Curse of Fenric.
And
Are you thinking it just because the Wooder?
no, Curse of Fenric also it was set during World War II.
Oh yeah, that's true.
You had well, this one isn't set. This was Cold War, but it's been set up to look like a Russian town. Fenric had that whole thing. We had sections of the base were set up to look like Nazi stuff.
Oh right, yeah.
So it's the outside. The location shooting they did was very similar looking
I
locations.
wonder where they shot that.
That I don't know, but
In a quarry in Wales somewhere.
it felt not in the way the episode was constructed, but the way it looked like Curse of Fenric. But
I have to confess though, I don't like the Sonic sunglasses.
I don't like it either.
Like I
Stupid
thought it was
idea.
cool for like the one thing, and I thought he'd like make it go back to how it was.
For literally years, I've wanted the Doctor to have like other things to other like tools and stuff instead of the sonic screwdriver. One of the things I wanted was to have a pair of glasses or possibly goggles of some sort, maybe steampunk goggles that hang around his neck, which he can put on, or ones that look like the ones Johnny Depp had in Sleepy Hollow.
Oh yeah.
And sort of that scan things, not sonic, just sort of X-rays and various things. Oh, I'm scanning for these things. Sort of like Geordie LaForge's visor.
Yeah.
Just put them on, take them off. So it's sort of subtle. They just taken the sonic screwdriver and made it stupider.
Well, now it's easier because it's an easier prop.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
But yeah, and I like that. I like that. Basically, what happened is like, so he was like, "I'm the Doctor, brown electric guitar," and then they go into the intro, and she says, "Well, they were really hardcore. This would be like a hard rock version of it." And we stop and she goes, "Oh, wait, it is."
It was, yeah. And it was a fine one, but the whole intro and sort of the intro at the start with Beethoven was pointless.
I like when the Doctor talks to the audience, because if you went around in the TARDIS all the time, you'd talk to the audience too.
It was a cute little bit, but it was pointless. I mean,
You talk to the audience and listen.
So
I think it's cool that Capaldi does this.
I'm just saying it was a cute bit. I'm just saying it was pointless. At the very end, whenever he called back to it, it was like to Clara, who composed Beethoven's symphonies, as though she was there when he had that previous discussion, was just fucking stupid.
Well, no, because it was saying, like, it was, obviously it was talking to the audience.
The intro and the outro were basically, it was like they got to the script stage.
I might have needed the bootstrap paradox explained, thank you very much. We're not astrophysicists.
If you've got a working knowledge of time travel in TV or film, you've come across this paradox.
Quite obviously, I don't have a working knowledge of time travel.
In these shows. And I've never heard of it called the bootstrap paradox before. It was always called a predestination paradox.
Well, things can have more than one name.
It's like...
Maybe they call it the bootstrap paradox.
This is like Stephen Moffat or Doctor Who. You take really common things and you give them a ridiculous, stupid fucking name. Like calling trainers sand shoes.
No, they're sneakers. But do you know, I found out today that the phrase, if I had my druthers, is totally unknown in the UK?
Except for me, but I heard Zevran say it in Dragon Age Origins and I looked it up.
Yeah, like, I used it today, and my one coworker looked at me and she's like, wait, if you had brothers? I was like, no, if I had my druthers. And she's from the Glasgow suburb. She goes, hey, what's your druthers then? And I was like, well, I think it probably like comes from like, would you rather? And I looked it up, and actually the first use, and it's an American phrase from 1870, was in some old Westy type book.
So you two can sound like an old 1890s space prospector.
It's not an archaic thing. It's a
can't sarn it.
It's a phrase of common parlance. If I had my druthers.
Dag nabbit.
I don't dag nabbit. I'm just saying.
Y'all.
Listen. So I liked the episode, all things told. I thought the explanation for things were good. You were like, why did they cast that guy? Oh, wait,
yeah, I was like, why the fuck did they cast Dennis Pennis as a ghost? And then it was like the second part. Okay, this makes a bit more sense, even though Dennis Pennis is really, this still isn't a Dennis Pennis part. I gotta show you some Dennis Pennis so you can see what this guy, Paul Kay, what he made his name in. And he's basically, imagine, the sort of irritating comedian who bothers people in camera, the people don't realize it's a joke. So
I don't like that.
Like the Borat type thing.
I really don't like
Imagine that, but it's a celebrity interviewer based on Johnny Rotten from the Sex Pistols.
I don't know.
That's Dennis Pennis.
I have no interest in that whatsoever.
But that was what he started off with. He's been in Game of Thrones, and he's done like It's All Gone to Pete Tong. He's done other things. But then having him play a timid Victorian space hamster...
with like an S&M fetish. It's like, there are many things on board that you can use to oppress me. I was like, oh, it's uncomfortable.
Paul Kay is not...
Oh, that alien's got the weirdest boner right now.
Paul Kay is not the one I would have leapt to for that part. Paul Kay, he's an interesting enough talent that I would have given a completely different part. Honestly, that one, there's many actors I would have put in there before Paul Kay.
John Leguizamo.
Not really.
Nah.
You know who would be really good as a member of that race? Combs.
Yeah, he's wormy.
He is, camp something bastard.
Yeah.
Perfect.
But, I mean, it was so far, I have not been let down by this whole two-parter thing.
Well, the two-parters, it's...
Because you said, oh, it's not going to be good.
No, I said the first episode is... usually if you get a good first episode in New Who, the second episode's not as good.
Bitch.
It's not usually you get two equally strong ones. And, so usually you get either both episodes are bad, or the first one's good and the second one's not so good, or you get two good ones.
Yeah.
And I honestly feel that both of them are on the thing of first episode better, second one not quite as good. I'm expecting the third story, based on the trailers, to be the bad one.
Well, it's got Vikings involved, and it's got robots, and it's got the girl from Game of Thrones.
It's got Odin and the Asgardian Viking gods being aliens, so someone's being like, we saw Thor! 70s Who ripped off Frankenstein and whatnot. We're going to rip off Thor, and we're going to cast Brian Blessed as Odin, but then Brian Blessed is going to get sick, and Brian Blessed is going to be like, I was supposed to be Thor! I was supposed to be Odin in Thor, the movie, and then I was kicked out, and now it's getting kicked out in Doctor Who as well. It is very unfair. I'm going to cut my own eye out and, yell about Gordon being alive.
He's got a new book out, Brian Blessed does.
Brian Blessed is awesome.
And also, guess who else has a new book out? Sue Perkins.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I added it to my Amazon wish list, so you can get it from me for Christmas.
But I got the feeling, based on the trailers, that it's going to be the bad one. It's going to be silly, it's going to be ridiculous, it's going to be all like, oh no, Maisie Williams' character is going to be really awesome and impressive, and it's going to be fucking ridiculous. I would probably be more nice to it if Brian Blessed was playing Odin.
Well, but you can't, he got sick, I mean, you can't
well,
fault him for that.
Yeah, it's not anyone's fault that he got sick. I'm hoping to be wrong. I always like to see an episode that looks bad be good. But I'm expecting if I'm going to do any Doctor Who season 9 episodes, I think it'll be the next 2.
Well,
Just based on the trailers.
I have hope. I think it'll be all right, you know. But I like the 12th Doctor. I think I like him more than Matt Smith.
Well, that's fine.
Because you remember when if you want, I don't remember what Lesbian Talk episode it was when we did for the Rings of Akhenaten. Hold on.
What?
Oh, I thought the play count wasn't going up on the camera for a second. I was like, that's odd, but it's fine. I get paranoid, you guys, that everything is broken. But the one thing I liked about the Rings of Akhenaten was his speech, you know, about memory and stuff to the god, and I was like, yeah, I really felt him as the last of the Time Lords. But I'm right. Even as much as I liked Matt Smith in the last season of his Doctor, I really, really like Peter Capaldi.
While on the other hand, I thought Matt Smith was really good in his first season, and around the same time he appeared in the Best New Who Christmas special, A Christmas Carol. He then became 10th Doctor Mark II, zany motherfucker in stripes.
I haven't seen most of the Matt Smith
and
run.
gelled fucking hair.
I saw the 9th Doctor run, and then I got up into like the first few episodes of the 10th Doctor, and then you were like, I can't believe you'd betray me like this by watching Doctor Who with the 10th Doctor, so I stopped.
I didn't say that.
Okay, and also
I have never told people to stop watching Who.
She was like, stop doing it because I'm betrayed, and also
What?
I had other things to do, and it's on my Netflix queue. You know how it is.
In my darkest moments of, classic Who supremacy, I might have the opinion in the back of my lizard brain that, people who only like New Who
You have a lizard brain?
Everyone does deep down in your mind.
No, but like now, our conspiracy theory fans
Okay,
will
fine.
think you're
Yes, Hagan. Yes, David Icke is right, and Hagan's a lizard person. But that people who only like New Who they don't love Who as much as people who like all of it. But everyone's gonna like the bits they like and what like. But I realize that is incredibly shitty to think, and so I do my best to beat that shit out of me figuratively.
Well, that's fair enough. Do you want to know what happened today? And I was at work.
Oh dear.
And I was talking about, so I'm working on this novel, and a friend of mine, Angel in Ink, if you know her from Twitter, who is also a writer, is one of my alpha readers. And,
How many alpha readers do you have?
well, right now I've got 3.
You need 2 more.
Why?
You've got Alpha 5!
Oh, for Christ's sake. And I was like, so I was talking about this, I was talking to my coworker Charlotte, and I said, you're going to be a beta reader, because, and she was like, why? And I was like, well, because you read a lot of fantasy, so you understand the genre, so you can say, I don't like this, or I do like this. And I said, because I'm afraid to reach out to any of my fans to say, hey, will you be readers? Because I'd be really afraid, be like, oh, I don't really make it, it's great. And so she looks at me, and she's like, wait a minute, did you just say you're fans? I'm like, I have 5 fans. And she's like, who are you, Kanye West, with all your fans? I was like, I've got Twitter followers, I do a show on the internet. And she's like, okay, I'll just leave you and your fans alone. I'm like, I have a handful of fans, shut up.
It's really funny whenever you sort of, these things that are accepted in our little sort of internet bubble, and then suddenly it's like, they're like,
who are you, Kanye West?
Next time that comes up, be all like, my wife, she's...
I said, my wife's more famous than I am. She's got a lot more fans and a lot more Twitter followers than me. By the way, like and subscribe.
Yeah, she should see her. She does stuff in...
I told the story about when we were up in New York City at Lindsay's for Times Square, and how, like, you and I were talking about, like, what to have for dinner, like, the night we... some really, really mundane... I remember it involved, like, if we defrost the turkey breast, like, something along that, kind of food conversation that we have so often. And this, like, person was, like, sidling on up to our conversation. They were like, excuse me, are you, do you mind talking? Oh my gosh. And I was like, oh, yeah, here, come, talk to us. She's like, no, I didn't want to interrupt. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm like, we're just talking about turkey breast. Really, talk to her, talk, and you just...
Yeah, tell her about what happened in the Grand Masquerade.
Oh, yeah, so we were walking around, and it was a LARP convention specific to Mind's Eye Theater / the Camarilla. And Hagan was like, oh, I wonder if I'll get noticed. I'm like, well, I wouldn't be surprised if you don't, honey, because it's a LARP thing. And then I saw 2 friends of mine from DC, and I was like, hey, you guys. And one of the girls, we're like, just listen to us, we were chatting. And she looks, and she's like, you look a lot, or do you sound a lot like Tiamanda Hagan?
Because, I wasn't in the makeup, and I was wearing a cowboy hat, which I picked up in Disney. Whenever I go somewhere warm, I always wear it. And I don't know why. It doesn't actually make me any cooler, but...
You just feel cooler.
Eh.
And then she had this look on her face like, She's like, oh my god. And then later she's like, why didn't you tell me that you were engaged to Diamanda Hagan? I'm like, it was on Facebook. We're Facebook friends.
Yeah, I can't go to a convention without at least one person recognize me. And it is nice. It is nice to be a celebrity for a couple of hours. It is fun.
It makes me happy when, like, people who like Channel Awesome folks get to meet up with them because... I mean, there are people that I listen to on the internet, but then I don't like people, so I would never want to, like, hang out with them. But, you know, you can tell that, like, the person that you watch over the screen, and you've watched for years now, and you really love their stuff, and you kind of feel an artificial closeness with them. I mean, like, if I ever went to Australia, and I would if we were in the town I totally want to go to the Mana Bar, the bar that Yahtzee co-owns. I think that'd be really cool, but... Like, if he and Gabriel were there, I wouldn't go up and say something because I know that Yahtzee hates people, and, like, I don't know these people. I just listen to them on the internet.
Yeah, that's my rule. Whenever I come across famous people in real life, unless it's at a con or something and they're actually having a meet and greet, I don't bother them.
Yeah.
Like, in my years in university, every single year on average, I would run into a celebrity, and it just randomly in England. Like...
Yeah, there's lots of celebrities in England.
Germaine Greer didn't bother her when she was on a train. Michael Gambon didn't bother him at a motorway service station. Armando Iannucci, who created The Thick of It and Veep,
oh, cool.
didn't bother him at Birmingham Airport because...
I don't really meet famous people. I rang up Martin McGuinness a few months ago.
Yeah, the Deputy First Minister.
Yeah,
he looks like Colin Meaney.
He does. And apparently he, like, was, like, not in the IRA... That's what everyone says.
I'm saying nothing.
I don't know. This is from my coworker. I have no idea. This old guy came up with his, like, wee granddaughter, and he bought a kid's book. I was like, do you have a loyalty card? He's like, no. I was like, need a bag? He's like, no, I'm grand. He went away. And then, like, do you know who that was? I was like, no. Like, that was Martin McGuinness. I was like, is that a famous person? I mean, like, well, one day we were driving down the street, and your dad's like, oh, look, it's that guy. And I was like
John Hume.
Yeah, and I was like, oh. And he's like, he won the Nobel Peace Prize. I'm like, well, that's grand.
Yeah, John Hume is... Basically, in Northern Ireland, there was a civil rights movement because Catholics in Northern Ireland were institutionally discriminated against, and John Hume was one of the two guys who started that off. John Hume and Ivan Cooper, and apparently they got together for the first time in like 30 years to unveil like this big mural in Derry.
Oh, that's cool.
But yeah, John Hume, he's from Derry, and
that's great.
Yeah, he just wanders around. He's like this 75-year-old. He's like, hello, I'm basically Martin Luther King of Northern Ireland.
He was carrying a newspaper.
Yeah.
But yeah, so for next week, I mean, I'm hopeful. You're not, but we'll see how that goes.
We'll see tomorrow.
We will. So that has been us. This probable episode 97.
I think so. And the next episode, unless we have more Skype problems, we should have special guests joining us to talk with Doctor Who.
And we have a special guest at some point in the future too.
We have another special guest hopefully after that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, we got another patron after that.
Okay.
And then at some point after that, I've been discussing with the director of Earthquake 10.0, which is on Netflix.
Go watch it.
This is my favorite movie that everyone else hates since Vikingdom.
Mm-hmm.
This is the world's greatest B-movie earthquake film. It's just an awesomely, hilariously entertaining, and I want everyone to watch it. You know, on Netflix it has like 1 star. I gave it a 5. Go watch it and give it a 5.
So also, if you would like to join us on Lesbian Talk, that's totally doable as long as you have Skype. Become a patron at that level.
Yeah.
You could totally chat with us.
Yeah, you can. At that level, it's either Lesbian Talk or I will cameo in your show.
Yeah.
Most people take Lesbian Talk, which I don't know whether maybe that means that my cameos are shit.
Maybe we sound like we're just really like interesting.
Maybe.
People like, I want to talk and I want to say. Maybe like people will be like, oh, how much does it cost? You say, it was me, the master. It was me the whole time.
Everyone's just like, but your show is just so charmingly unstructured. And it's like, well, it grew out of conversations we have on Skype because we weren't living together.
Our lives. But so anyway, that's been us. It's been episode 90, probable 7.
90XX.
Yeah. I have been the Omega. I've been kissed. I've been the Omega. And honey, who do you have want to have me this week?
Thermanius Van Pelt.
I don't know who that is.
Neither do I. I invented it.
Oh.